Hey Playas, welcome back to Playas Guide. So I'm going to continue with some collecting tips here, but in this video I'm going to focus on where to find the games, where to find the cheapest games, and how to deal with resellers. Let's start off with the cheapest places to find games. So thrift stores, yard sales, flea markets, Craigslist and Kijiji, and misspelled listings on places such as eBay. You might also be able to get some good deals online at other places like Facebook, certain Facebook groups, and Instagram. If you're able to haggle a little bit and hash out a good deal with somebody selling some stuff, but for the most part, I'm not going to go too in depth on online buying because most people selling online, most people in general nowadays have a good idea that retro games or older games hold some value and that there are rare and collectible items. So when I go thrifting, I'll tell you what I do. I donate to a place called Value Village that we have here in Canada. And when I donate, they give me a coupon that saves me 20% on a purchase of up to $100. Now, if I'm buying anything worth more than $5, I will use one of these coupons and it saves me a buck, which doesn't seem like a lot, but a $5 game that I might find worth $10 only cost me $4. So if I were to sell that game or purchase that game somewhere else, I'm saving myself 60% or profiting 60%. And now let me expand on that a little bit more too. It's okay to resell. I know there's a lot of people who seem to hate resellers, and I think that's just the idea they have what you want and you're not willing to pay that what they're offering or the going rate for it. So hopefully this video helps you with that. But myself, I have no problem with people reselling, and I'll tell you why. I don't always want to be going out to thrift stores and flea markets and yard sales and getting up at the ass crack of dawn on a Saturday morning to go run around the city just to find nothing. If somebody else is willing to do that, I'm willing to pay them a little bit more for their troubles and efforts, and in return they're making a profit. So the way I see it is, if you're not out there and you're not getting aggressive with game hunting, then shut the fuck up and don't complain. Go to a reseller and give them what they're asking. Another rule of thumb when buying from resellers, not necessarily brick and mortar game stores. Online, you can do this if there's a best offer option, which is sometimes available if they're a motivated seller. But if you're talking about a swap meet or convention or buying something off of a Craigslist or Kijiji reseller, what you might be able to do is haggle and bargain with them a little bit. What I generally tend to do, my rule of thumb is I normally will not offer less than 20% of what they're asking for. And I'll tell you why. Because if you lowball somebody, they may get offended. And the other thing too is if it's an item that you want for yourself, for your own personal collection, lowballing it, you take a risk of letting it slip away because there's a good chance there's someone else out there, you know, who might be a couple days down the road willing to pay full value of what they're asking. So, you know, when reselling, the name of the game is making money. So if you're offering 20%, usually most resellers are profiting more than 20%. If they're not, they're doing it wrong. They're cutting their margins really close, and if they have to sit on that item for a long time, that's a lot of crap building up that they're only making 10, 20% or less profit on. So most aren't doing that. For some items, they might, like some of the higher end games, because if it's a $600 game and, you know, they bought it for $500, they're still making $100 profits. So in some situations like that, it makes sense. But for like a $10, $20 game, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So if you offer them 20% less and they come back with 10% off of whatever they're asking, you're still saving some money and you're getting what you want, and you're not fucking around wasting their time or yours. you're able to get a good, reasonable price on something that you've been looking for. When at thrift stores, I'll tell you to look at different sections. You should be. You should know this. The display cases are a good place to check first because, like I said, a lot of people know that video games have value. They don't always know which ones, so you might be able to find something that is highly undervalued, but there's a good chance they have something decent in the display case, so look there and make a judgment call on the price. Most people have smartphones now, so if you're not sure, you can always look up the value on an app or eBay, sold listings, whatever you decide to use. But definitely use something, use some sort of collecting tool so you know what you have, you're not picking up doubles, and you know the value of items. And when you're out thrifting at thrift stores, and I think this is a general rule of thumb if you're looking anywhere that has a variety of different used goods for sale, like yard sales and flea markets, look through the movies. I'll tell you what, you got to look at the spines of CDs and movies because there's going to be maybe some PlayStation 1 or some TurboGrafx games mixed in, as well as the Wii games and Wii U games are pretty easy to spot, as well as a lot of the Xbox One games, but you don't see too many of those. Xbox games are fairly easy. They'll generally be in their own section, I find, at most thrift stores. But the PlayStation 2 stuff and some other games you might find, even the Wii games, I've seen it before. They're mixed in with the DVDs. And even myself, when I'm humming and hawing and I'm not sure if I'm going to pick something up if it's a good deal because I already have a stack of other things, I'll just shove it in somewhere in the DVDs because a lot of people don't look there. They go right for the games, which is the first place you should go. But yeah, check the CDs and DVDs because you might find something there. Now, you also want to be aware of other collectible items. Check out this old Pac-Man glass. I think that was $2 or $3 at the flea market. I was just looking through glasses. I even have a Super Mario 2. I don't know what it is. It's just a jar. I don't want to say cookie jar because it's not really a cookie jar. But look for these things. They're there. If you're only looking in the sections for games or where, electronics are, which is where you might find consoles and controllers. So definitely check there. You want to look in those spots too. Look in toys. Look in glasses. I don't know if you want to look at clothing, but you might find some interesting old clothing and apparel. Shoes, you probably won't find anything in those sections, but you get the point. Look throughout the store and know what you're looking for. Okay, another cheap place to find games, yard sales. I think most people know about this, but you got to be willing to get up early. If you're not willing to get up early, here's a tip for you. When you see the listing, wherever you find it, if it's a Craigslist or a Kijiji ad, you're in luck because you can probably message that person before the sale. So you send them a message, ask them about what you're looking for. Hey, do you have any video games? Do you have any toys, comics, anything like that? They may already say in their listing, which will save you some time because you don't have to question them about that. Just say, hey, do you have games for sale? Can you send me a pic? Or you could even try asking them to hold them for you. I don't know if that'll work, but it might. It doesn't hurt to try. But you could get the jump on the games and get there at your own time and without having to get up, like I said, at the ass crack of dawn looking for games. Myself, I do some yard sailing, but what I do is I get up and go for a leisurely bike ride. I don't expect to find anything because I'll tell you in the past, I've gone around to about 20 yard sales, drove all over the city, and this goes back to time and effort, wasted probably 20 or 30 bucks in gas, and my entire morning and some of my afternoon looking for games, and all I found was broken Guitar Hero guitars. What a bust. And sometimes you're going to have to sift and rummage through the shit, and what I mean is going through dirty games, dirty toys, whatever people have a box or bin full of. You also want to ask them, if you just happen to be at a yard sale or somewhere or a flea market, if they have any games. If it's a flea market, they might say, hey, come back next week. I do have some, because that has worked for me before. So, yeah, reselling is not all that bad. In fact, I encourage you to do it. And I'll tell you why. You might be able to get some items that you're looking for and resell the rest of the junk that you don't care about, and then use those items to either buy or trade for something good that you do want. And to be honest, you know what's worse than resellers? It's collectors who collect, get in for 5 or 6 years or less, and then sell off everything. Because those are the people that are buying it, they're consuming it, they're creating demand, and then they're selling it off at a higher price, which really drives up the price for the rest of us on anything. I realize some of you are experienced collectors, so if you have any other tips or pointers that you'd like to add, please add them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what other people are doing.